And actually, I wanted to bring up something. I saw an interesting little, and I actually tweeted it out. But I'm trying to find it right now. Okay, let's talk about this, right? FanDuel Sportsbook dropped a little bit of a banger of a tweet, and not a banger in a good way. Like, it got people going, right? Pick one player in their prime. Ricky Williams, Steven Jackson. Now, I have some thoughts on this because I feel like I understood what they were doing. They're somewhat similar, Ricky Williams and Steven Jackson, right? But it's favorite for Ricky Williams, retweet for Steven Jackson. We all know how that goes on in Twitter. People don't like to retweet. Favorite is the quickest thing to do. Retweet, you get the thing, then you have to confirm. So there's only 55 retweets, 22 quote tweets. So if you're saying that's the case, then Steven Jackson got 77 votes. Ricky Williams got 1,482. That's absolutely ridiculous. My friend over on Twitter, fellow Jayhawk and Rams fan, Ramhawk, if you will, Rams Regeared, dude had 8 straight 1,000-yard seasons. What do you mean short prime? That was the Rams team from 05 to 12. Do you know how bad the rest of the Rams were during that stretch? In response to someone saying Prime Steven was underrated, Prime was short-lived, though. I agree with Rams Regeared. And I'll say this right now. I think that this really just confirms that Steven Jackson is one of the most underrated players to ever play the sport. Because I'm going to bring up his stats. I just was looking at them, and I'm going to look at Ricky Williams. And we could sit here all day and talk about, obviously Ricky Williams had his moments, right? Ricky Williams had some monster seasons. But I'm going to break down to you exactly why Steven Jackson had the better career than Ricky Williams. And I understand the prime. Like, prime was the question. And don't get me wrong, Ricky Williams had 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons, and one of them he went over 1,800 yards. But here's the argument that I would make, is that Steven Jackson not only had 8 straight 1,000-yard seasons on dog water teams with no offensive line to speak of, but he only had, his year where, his first year he had 254 carries. His second year he had 346. Ricky Williams had 2 years back-to-back, which he had over 380 carries. He had a year where he had 442 touches. And he had 1,723, so 1,723 yards from scrimmage on 442 touches. Steven Jackson, the year he had over 2,000 touches, he had 436 touches. So, let me get this straight. If we're going by prime, then Steven Jackson, that year he had 1,528 rushing yards on 346 rushing attempts in 2006 when Marshall Faulk was done. And he had 13 rushing touchdowns. That year, he came in 4th for the AP Offensive Player of the Year. Okay. That team went 8-8 and missed the playoffs. And he was 4th in Offensive Player of the Year. Now, here's the thing. We're talking about prime in this scenario. That's what, FanDuel was talking about. Steven Jackson, Ricky Williams, right? We're talking about their prime. Well, this is what I would say, is that in Steven Jackson's prime, first off, it was longer. He doesn't get penalized because it lasted from 2005 to 2012. He started his prime at age of 22. Ricky Williams, it didn't last as long. He started at age of 23. He fell off right around 27 years old. So, looking at this, Ricky Williams' best year was the year he had 1,853 yards rushing. He also had more carries in a season than Steven Jackson ever came near. So, Jackson didn't even get that many opportunities. He had 16 touchdowns. Jackson had 13 and way fewer carries. His best year, he averaged 115.8 yards per carry, or 115.8 yards per game. Jackson averaged 95.5 because he wasn't getting all those carries per game. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you had this guy averaging 24, 23 carries per game, which is insane. And then on top of that, this is the thing that cracks me up, because, again, I'm not trying to hate on Ricky Williams. I think he was fantastic. But Steven Jackson had a average yard per touch of 7.3 in 2006. Like, if he was on a winning team, he wins the MVP. That season was nuts. That's the season he had 806 receiving yards on 90 receptions, and also 1,500 rushing yards and 13 touchdowns. Like, that season was absolutely nuts. And Ricky Williams' best season, he averaged 5.2 yards per touch. How was this even an argument? They're similar because when you look, I mean, the yards are there, I guess. I mean, Ricky Williams, he got to 10,000 yards barely. He's just barely over 10,000 yards. Steven Jackson got to 11,438. So he has 1,000 more yards. Yeah, Mahmood, you're right. But yeah, he's got 1,000 more yards than Ricky Williams. Okay. He played one more year, and let's be honest, the New England year, is anybody really going to count that? He played in 2 games. He rushed 21 times for 50 yards. He was done by that point. So you look at that, and then on top of that, like Ricky Williams had 2,431 carries. Now understand this. Ricky Williams missed 2004, he missed 2006, and he got hurt in 2007. So the fact that he had that many carries is insane. Jackson had 2,700, and he didn't miss a season. He missed games, but he didn't miss a season. Ricky Williams, of course, missed games. He retired in 2004. He came back. He had 743 yards, and then he missed the 2006 season due to violation of substance abuse policy, which was ridiculous because basically he just smoked weed. Whatever. But then, with this whole thing with Jackson, he had 69 touchdowns rushing, more than Ricky Williams did at 66. It's one of those things. Like, Jackson more first downs. They had the same yards per carry at 4.1. Yards per game, Jackson averaged 71.5. Ricky Williams averaged 68.1 for his career. It's just one of those, Jackson was used way more in the receiving game, 628 targets. Ricky Williams, 466. Ricky Williams had 342 receptions. Jackson had 461. Ricky Williams had 2,606 receiving yards. Jackson had 3,683 receiving yards. Ricky Williams had 2,606. Jackson, yards per reception, had 8. Ricky Williams averaged 7.6. Jackson had 9 receiving touchdowns. Ricky Williams had 8. Like, Jackson leads in almost every category. But one thing I thought was funny is they have the same catch percentage. Jackson averaged 5.9 yards per touch for his career. Ricky Williams averaged 5.6. Both really good. But, Jackson just leads in every way. Yards from scrimmage, Jackson has 3,000 more yards from scrimmage. He's got 4 total touchdowns more. And, this is the biggest one for me. Jackson had 23 fumbles in his career. And actually, the last 4 seasons of his career, he didn't fumble. Ricky Williams had 52 fumbles and didn't have one season in which he didn't fumble. He actually had seasons where he fumbled 7, 8 times, 6 times, 6 times. Jackson's worst year was when he fumbled 5 times in 2007 and 2008. So, I'm sorry. They're similar in what they did, but Jackson is the better back. Thought-provoking. It's a segment for the show. But that's not... I don't know why like this was even that much of a debate. And then there's people in the comment... Let's read the comment section. If you say Steven Jackson, jump in front of a truck today. With absolutely all due respect to Steven Jackson, this is just putting Tyson versus an infant asking who would you take. I don't understand. Ricky easy. Ricky Williams, no questions asked. Ricky Williams was an absolute lick for the Hall of Fame. One of the best running backs to ever play in his prime. There's no comparison here. Ricky was unstoppable in his prime. It's kind of close, but not really. It's Ricky. Ricky was just different. Prime Ricky. He had half the starts, only 1,400 less rushing yards, missed 3 prime years, then split time, still hit 10K. Ricky Williams in his prime. I love S. Jacks, but this ain't even close. Like, these comments, man. Come on now, it's Ricky. Is this a serious question? It's not even close. It's Ricky. Ricky Williams. Are you kidding me? It's clearly Ricky. Ricky all day. Like, are you kidding me? It's not even close. I mean, you're right. I mean, I guess it's not even close on the other side. Man, Steven Jackson gets no love. It's already bad enough the guy will never go to the Hall of Fame because he played on a dog water team. But it's even worse the fact that now everyone thinks Marshawn Lynch is a Hall of Famer. Everyone calls him Beast Mode, when in reality, Beast Mode was always Steven Jackson. Carrying around a team that wasn't worth a damn, and that to me is Beast Mode.